How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of That Mill podcast. Hope you're doing well. My name's Omar, joined as always by my regular co-host, Mickey Simpson. You look confused there, mate. You all right?
I was just checking which way to look at you, see? Now I've got it sussed.
Is it that way? Am I doing it right as well?
That's it, you're doing it right. Look. Hello, mate.
All right, mate. Yeah, fuck off. Sorry, go on.
Fuck you.
If you're listening on audio, you'll have no idea what that means, but that means you've not checked out our YouTube or Recast channel, so be sure to do that if you're wondering what's going on there. But yeah, welcome back to another edition of the show. You got myself and Mickey today. I've been on a little hiatus myself, so I'm looking forward to getting back into the pod flow today. But Mickey, mate, another 3 points for Millwall on Saturday, 4 in a row, all courtesy of Juicy Jake, as you say, mate.
Juicy Jake, yeah. Juicy Jake loves Sheffield, doesn't he? Yeah. I think we just seem to be, whatever's gone on, we seem to be firing as a team at the minute. Whether or not that's Jed come back and he's managed to gel everyone together or put a bit of positivity in the team, then yeah, all good at the minute. It looks like, doesn't it? Definitely all good at the minute. So yeah, I think it's funny as well because all the a lot of the Row It Out brigade have now all of a sudden, certain well-known YouTuber is sort of backtracking rather a lot, which is quite comical. So yeah, we never actually got fully into the Row It Out. Well, I never did. Someone.
I was very close.
Very
close.
I don't want to say I'm not going to drop anyone in it at all, but
I personally didn't see any way of it changing, but we'll talk more about that, I suppose, as we go to the first part of the show anyway. But I'm definitely in humble pie at this point because you can't knock it for any short of imagination there at all. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we'll go into part number 1 in a moment. If you're new around here, be sure to like the video, subscribe if you're new on YouTube and on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It helps out more than you think. And check us out on our socials at That Mill Pod across Instagram and Twitter. I think we can upload 10-minute videos now on Instagram. Mickey informed me earlier today, so watch out for content
TikTok,
on there.
On TikTok.
Oh, TikTok, actually. Sorry, we're on TikTok as well. So yeah, check us out on all our socials. We'll go straight to the first part of the show now. All right. As mentioned, Mickey, 1-0 win at home against Sheffield United. Cooper scored his 5th goal in 6 games against Sheffield United. I saw a lot of their fans saying, why don't we just sign him to have him on the bench at this point to guarantee ourselves at least more than 0 points a season against Millwall. Yeah, what a win, mate. And more importantly, 4 on the bounce. Something that I didn't think would happen 4 games ago. And you can't pretend to say you would thought it would either, mate. But I missed, obviously, the show we done after Derby. I went out to Derby with Kai and a few others. I mean, I don't know where to start to try and analyse the last 4 games in general, but Saturday in particular, just that kind of grit and determination to get over the line kind of sticks in the memory, mate. And, set piece goal, it doesn't matter how it comes, but when you're putting in performances like that, where you're in the game still and contending with opposition, and Sheffield United also a team in form, it's a weird sort of turn of events, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, it's a cliche what we've used plenty of times in there, but it seems to be that they're putting in Millwall performances. What we the fans would class as a Millwall performance. They seem to be doing that the last 4 weeks. I suppose you could probably go back a couple of other games where there's been slight glimpses of it, but something's clicked. I don't know what it is. I don't know. If Gary's got them back on side, got them back in, or the players have just thought, "Fuck you, we're going to do the best we can," and suddenly work as a team. I don't know. Whatever it is, just bottle it up, keep it going. It could even be as simple as the interview we spoke about the other week, where he just said 17 games left. We're just going to approach them as one at a time, and we're just going to address them like that. Maybe that works, but whatever it is, the team is definitely gelling together. They're definitely sticking together, and they are leaving nothing in their bank. They're coming off that pitch absolutely fucked. The only downside is we seem to be getting fucking injuries every week now.
We'll talk on the injuries in a second, mate, because it'd be good to go into that as well. Obviously, 2 new injuries to speak of. But before we do that, I think it's two things have kind of happened. If I'm trying to play devil's advocate, one thing is obviously, which is a positive, is Wallace came back into the side and he started the last 4 games and we've won the last 4 games. And his performances in the last 4 games in particular have been kind of nothing short of inspiring. Let's have it that way. I think, especially Derby County, obviously there was a few more standouts on the pitch on the night, Bennett impressed and stuff like that. But Wallace's quality in the final thirds has been unrivaled. And obviously, a goal and assist last week, quite fortunate for the assist, but there was no doubt his assist on Saturday for Cooper's goal. Stood it up to the back post superbly. And there's only one person going to win that header in that kind of race there. And Cooper made it look really easy, to be honest. But I think the ball made the goal for him in that sense. But for me to be a bit of a cynic, I feel like I'm over the moon with the performances, and I'm going left, right, centre all these games because I'm addicted to watching our team play at the minute. But I feel like Routs lucked onto this formation a little bit and the team, because if you look at the team that he's picking, Bury wouldn't get a look in if if Bradshaw was fit and if Phobia was fit. I'm just saying it. But also, you look through the spine of the team, would we have seen the likes of Mitchell in there if Leonard was fit, for example? I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate here and a bit of a cynic because I just want a bit of that kind of balance to it because I'm buzzing about performances. You can't fault the manager whatsoever. Even these substitutions, like before the Saturday at Derby, there were great substitutions, kind of, bringing on players to try and see the game out at the time. I was like over the moon about that, and he's affected games in a positive manner. But I just feel like he's kind of stumbled across it. But the best thing about it is Phobia was fit on Saturday, but he kept Bury in the team, Mickey, I suppose. So I'm not grumbling about it. I'm buzzing about it. But I suppose a little caveat there, he's kind of landed on his feet with it and he's come out of this looking hunky-dory, maybe when it wasn't his first thought of formation, if that makes sense, or style of play, so to speak. And he's on mute. Of course you are.
And I'm back. Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of this has happened accidental because of the way that the games beforehand were definitely not going his way. And I think the fact of players like Billy, Bury, and a couple of others don't want to lose their space. So they're literally saying, this is my shirt. This is my number. This is my shirt. I'm playing. And I want to be the first player picked every week, which is great because going into if they're playing as hard as they are now, we go in 3, 4, 5 games time. And then we get the likes of, we'll have a Phobie coming back probably over the next game or two. And then we've got Leonard potentially coming back. We've got, I don't think Bradshaw will be back before the end of the season. But you've got Ballard coming in now, which is pretty much a straight swap for Hutch as such. So, hopefully we don't necessarily miss that on our defensive side. But again, there's players what are due to be coming back, which is only now going to bolster the team going forward.
It's definitely exciting because, I think players are starting to find form as well. I think McNamara has been great last 4 games. I don't think he was out of form per se, but he seems to have definitely come into his stride once teams got a bit, more on the front foot. Obviously, the front three is very mobile, and that's why I think he's kind of he says he's muted. Obviously, that's why we didn't need a target man, and he let Smith go and he let Bodvarsson go, and he said there was no need to have forwards that can't be functioning mobility wise, so to speak. I get behind the notion. I understand what he's saying, but like I said, I don't think he saw in January any time where he'd played Bury up front from the start of the game 2 games in a row. That's not me discrediting the manager because obviously it's the cards he's got dealt, and to be fair to him, he's definitely got the team singing off the same hymn sheet in a minute. Even Scott Malone's been nothing short of actually quite good recently. I think in particular, his offensive play has always been good, but he just seems to have got that extra yard of pace back in the game and looking quite keen to make an effect on the game. You mentioned Hutchinson obviously going off injured. We mentioned the injuries there, mate. Mason Bennett in the first half goes off injured. Evans comes in. At the time, I was raising an eyebrow at it, but we got the result, so that's all that matters. But poor Bennett, mate. I think it's just a kind of a sum of his Millwall career, and it seems to be like an oxalis injury or something apparently in his rib cage. So he's rumoured to be out for 2 to 3 weeks, and it's quite a painful injury supposedly. But it's just every time it gets going, it kind of falters. But at least I suppose it's not an injury to a thigh or calf or a muscle tear.
Didn't he hold his leg when he was on the floor?
I did think that, but I did
I
read
thought he was
earlier
holding his
today.
leg, but
Yeah. I read today it was a rib injury of sorts. I can't remember exactly what it's called. The
probably
definition
done in
of it.
training. I mean, I don't know. There's rumours flying around about Lovelace at the minute as well, isn't there? So whether or not they're true or not, or whether or not they're just a malicious rumour, I've got no idea. There doesn't seem to be anything publicly on that in a minute, but we'll wait and see on there. But I don't know what's going on. They've either got a dodgy masseuse, or the training ground is too fucking hard, or something. But there seems to be a lot of players with hamstring injuries. Whether or not it's stretching or whichever way it is, it does seem a bit concerning that you've got quite a few players going down with pretty much very similar injuries. I think it's exciting times. It's nice because we went through that dull stage of everyone fucking moaning, no one wanted to go, no one was interested, and now people are getting back into it again. People are jumping on it. They're loving it. It's all good.
Football's a results business, isn't it? At the end of the day,
it is. And
also performances have improved, and we're playing on the front foot, trying to affect games in a positive fashion. So you can't grumble about that whatsoever. And we're looking to take the teams, like games, onto teams, especially second half, like the performances in the last 4 games. We've just gone out in them second halves and just blitz teams. Aside from Derby, Sheffield United, West Brom, especially at home at the Den, mate, we just seem to be kind of in that second half, and we're coming towards Coldborough Lane, making it a bit of a fortress, aren't we?
Yeah, and I think the fans and the players are working well together. The fans gear the players up. The players then do stuff with, Gina, the fans up. And then all of a sudden it just creates this clusterfuck where it just suddenly works. The players' heads don't seem to go down. They seem to, this is ours. We're having this regardless. We're going to have this.
See, it's easy when it's carried out, isn't it? It's easy when it's carried out. You see it playing out in front of your eyes. You're thinking, this is the recipe to being a successful Millwall team at the Den. Just play on the front foot. Doesn't need to be anything exciting to watch. Doesn't need to be pretty tiki-taka football. Just show a bit of desire.
But it is though, isn't it?
Get that ball forwards, less sideways, backwards passing, and affect the game in the right areas of the pitch, and the fans are going to love you for it.
And also, when you throw in a bit of pace and you throw in some tippy-tappy football, passing it through, 6, 7, 8 passes up, it suddenly works. We're suddenly moving fast. A bit like the videos what we see the Gary doing his coaching. It now looks as if what's in those videos and what style of play wants, don't hang around, turn your player, get the ball up, pass it, get back onto it, go. It just seems to be working at the minute.
I think also, by the way, the injury, he says Mason's was like an oblique injury in between his ribs to do with the muscles.
He's a big cunt, so he's probably got loads there. So
But also, I noticed, like, even the Derby game, up until Cooper put the ball in his own net, which obviously we're all grateful for, thanks to that, Jay. But he atoned for it on Saturday, getting the match winner. But I think also we've seen to have found our defensive resilience again. And I don't know how it's happened, because it's the same back five it's been for a lot of the season. But suddenly it just clicked where you're not worried about what the opposition are doing with the ball. It's like you've got to get past this defence. And we seem to have just stumbled upon suddenly a rhythm to the defence. And hopefully Hutchinson's injury, apparently it's a calf injury and he could be out for the rest of the season if rumour has it right. And I think in the same interview that I read just about Mason Bennett's injury, it could be a grade 3 injury and it looks quite bad at the moment. But that said, I've seen people with bad injuries before, supposedly, and they come back after 3 or 4 weeks with the calf. So hopefully Hutch is back soon. But as you mentioned there, Mickey, we've got a ready-made replacement in Ballard coming back into the fold. And he didn't look out of place on Saturday either when he came back into the side. And it's another one that fans love to kind of get behind because he's a young player eager to impress.
No, I totally agree. I mean, I think the defence is great. I mean, if you look at the Derby game, Derby were getting into our half fairly easily. But when they were in there, you didn't really have any thought that they were going to score. And it's pretty much the same with Sheffield. You didn't actually see them as a threat to score, did we?
No, that was it. And that's what I mean. Not necessarily. I agree with the Derby game. There was moments, especially in the first half, where players were carrying it from the wide areas and drifting inwards,
Yeah.
and no one was picking up on them or tackling them. But they're not really testing Bart too much. We're not walking out like Sheffield United game. I think Bart made one save, maybe nothing like extraneous, so to speak. And the same for the Derby game. He made one or two saves in the first half, but second half we just kind of managed to get this kind of
The
resilience.
flick with the hand,
yeah,
where he managed to just slap it out was a superb save.
But they're not getting past the back five now. Like before,
No.
I feel like the teams would maybe we've kind of unintentionally sat a bit deeper and we're looking to break with pace on the counter attack, and that's when you got Bury and Bennett. And
I think that
Wallace.
is.
But also
they're
sitting a bit deeper, and it's stopping them from getting turned and facing their own goal. And instead of like looking to look after the ball and pass it around a lot, it's get the ball and play it forward quick and try to get the midfielders involved. And Saville picked up the ball a few times on Saturday and tried to play forward. Same with Mitchell, and the same with McNamara and Malone in the wide areas. They get the ball out wide and just run forward. They're not intending to play it back or save.
I think that's right. I think the problem, or not the problem. I think what we're doing now is that we're using all the pitch now rather than using, the 18-yard box lines. Do you know what I mean? From like one end to the other end of the pitch, we're using the full length now. And as soon as they get the ball, if they're in the middle, they're sticking it out to the side. They're sticking out to the wing, sticking out to both sides, and then letting players hold the ball up, let people get into a bit of space, and then kick it forward. As in before, it would always be around the middle, back to Bart. Bart would kick it back out, have another attempt coming forward. No, back to the middle, back to Bart. Bart would then pick it up. Bart would then kick it forward, and we lose the ball, and then we're going again. But now it's like, that's our ball. We're not fucking giving it away. And they seem to be. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some stupid fucking passes. Before they've even kicked the ball, we're going to lose that shot. We're going to lose that ball. But they're on it. 1, 2, maybe 3 players are chasing that ball back down, which 5 weeks ago that weren't happening.
On another article actually about injuries, mate. Salah Lovelace did do his hamstring after the game on Saturday, but also Murray Wallace went to A&E on Sunday because he had a bang to his chest and it tightened up. But hopefully, sounds like he'll be okay for next weekend. Keith is a couple of weeks away. Apparently, they're accelerating him a little bit for recovery, and Shea Ojo is around 3 weeks away from injuries as well. So
who's that with?
Shea Ojo, 3 weeks away.
No, but who's that story with?
Oh, South London Press.
Oh, okay, so it's pretty true then.
Reliable enough. And then also, hopefully, then at 3 weeks, we've got possibly Lenny, Berkey, and Bradders, who should be back, one back a week for the rest of the season. So if we're still like in a decent run of form by that time of the season, when we start getting players back, like you said there, mate, it can be exciting into the season, I suppose. But also in a weird way, having the adversity and the injuries, it's kind of spurred the players on that we've got to put performances in that we didn't think were possible 4 games ago.
No, I think Bert coming back at the right time is going to be superb.
No mention of Freeman though, so I guess Freeman's a goner for the season, I suppose.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, it's hard to say. But I suppose anyway, mate, 5 points off the playoffs, I think it is. I'm not sure if the game tonight affects it because we're recording on a Monday night. But obviously we're sitting on 49 points after 33 games. And with 5 points behind Luton, mate. Exciting, though?
I think it's highly exciting. I think 5 weeks ago, we were looking more at relegation spot than anywhere else. And, not necessarily going into relegation, but that level of the table. And now we're suddenly up. And realistically, if we can get a few more wins, there's every chance in the world we could make a run for the playoffs late in the season. I don't think we'll get promoted, but it's in the players' hands now. If they address each game as it comes and play each game like a cup final and just give their heart and soul, it's in the hands of destiny now, isn't it? And it's up to Lady Destiny, mate. But as long as they play what they want to play, then no one knows where we're going, mate. But it's definitely a change of heart. It's definitely saved negativity for the board, for Millwall Football Club as a whole, with tickets, bums on seats, etc., etc., etc. Has it saved Gary Rowett's job? I think that's still questionable whether or not his contract will be extended or not. The fact that the comments in South London today with Bustle going, or Bustle paid off now and he's left, or possibly paid off, possibly fired, I don't know, whichever way it is. And his comments in there, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? It does make you read a little bit between the lines that he just didn't fit in. Aldo is Aldo. Love him, hate him, whatever he is. He knows the club inside out. He uses modern computer programs and everything else, I think, to find the players what he wants. He's had some good players. He's had some fucking absolute wankers or wage thieves. But I suppose on the plus, he's had more good than bad. So, yeah, good luck to him.
I'm just trying to work out how you went from run of form to talking about Harvey Bustle and then talking about Aldo. Like, that was my topic to come up in about 5 minutes' time, but somehow you managed to turn it away from the next 5 games that I was going to mention, and now we're talking about Aldo and Harvey Bustle. So thanks for that.
we can come back. It just flowed in because of it. But look, no, we can talk about the next 5 games. Reading would be a tricky one.
I was going to say a tricky week ahead, I feel like, because you got Reading on Saturday. Iffy one. I think obviously Paul Ince in charge there. I'm looking forward to giving him some dogs abuse on Saturday at Reading. But then Blackburn away on Tuesday. Again, obviously the rearranged game. I think there'll be a bit of needle there from Millwall to try and turn up, put performance in. And also Blackburn will be quite keen to obviously, put good to that postponement they got from us. And then Middlesbrough comes to the Den, who lost to Barnsley on the weekend. So it's teams that are in and around it now, so to speak. And Blackburn, obviously had a decent run of form before Christmas and seems to have tailed off a little bit. Then after that, you got Huddersfield, who are somehow third place in the table. And then you got Stoke away, Luton away, then Swansea, Barnsley at home, Preston away, Hull at home, Birmingham away. And then you finish with Peterborough at home, then Bournemouth away. Not many games that really kind of put fear into me, Mickey, like how Fulham did, for example. Suddenly, like, the team.
Bournemouth, maybe.
Maybe Bournemouth's the exception last day of the season, but their season could be done by then. I'm not saying we're going to go on a crazy run like we're still doing now, extend it to 10 games, 1 in a row or something, but there's no reason why not, in a sense where just 1 game at a time,
I agree.
keep this approach going and just see what happens, I suppose.
I fully agree. I don't think any of them are truly worrying. I think if we played like we did Saturday, played like we did the Wednesday, etc., play like we did against QPR, I think potentially no one scares us, and we could get results. Could we be, talking against the Huddersfield? Is it Huddersfield when potentially that would be 7-8 on the bounce?
Yeah.
Could that really happen? Could we go on a winning spree to the end of the season? I don't know. We might lose every game going forward now. I've got no idea, but I don't really care right now, because as long as the team plays like they do, win, lose or draw, it's fucking exciting to watch at the minute. Do you know what I mean? You can get behind them. As in how we were playing before was fucking dog shit boring.
No, I agree. And also, it did deter me from going to the aways, but suddenly they're all getting booked up left, right, and centre, just like everyone else did when they went to Reading or booked for Reading tickets on Saturday. And it's normally a good away game to go to for decent following. I think the actual away day itself is a bit hit and miss, Reading away. But there's a bit more motive this time around. Paul Ince in charge there, like I said. We normally take a good following there. And the incentive is there to make it 5 in a row. And we'll talk more about Reading, I suppose, in our pod later in the week. But there's definitely room to at least be excited, because I thought back-to-back wins was impressive. We've done that twice already this season, but it was needed at the time. Can you do the third win? We did it at Derby when you're not sure if complexity comes into it. Comes to the 4th game in that run. Sheffield United at home, a team also in form at the time, and I think we was one of the 2 form teams in the league. Both won 4 of our last 5 or along those lines. But yet you turn up and make them look really average, and they couldn't break us down. And that kind of consistency is something we've not had for 3-4 years, to be honest, Mickey. So savour it whilst it lasts is all I'm going to say. If anyone's listening out there and wondering, get yourself down to as many games as you can, because whilst we're doing this kind of performance, it doesn't come often with Millwall. It's not frequently either.
No, and you probably had more of the good times in the shorter time you've been following Millwall than most. You know what I mean? There's definitely the winning times and whatnot. Probably from 2000 onwards, we've probably had a lot more than what we've had before it, as such. I suppose, apart from the 88 season, I suppose when we won promotion and that, we've had a few ups and downs. But yeah, I just, it's exciting. It's just, it's being able to do these with actually having positivity and also not listening to other shows talking just full of negativity. Do you know what I mean? Everyone can be a football manager. I don't pretend, you don't pretend that we're a football manager. We're just fans who have a discussion and we talk about football. We couldn't have a fucking Danny about how to run a club or how to run a fucking football team week in, week out. But we give our two bobs worth. People listen to us. We have a laugh. We have banter and whatnot. But at the moment, it's a cracking fucking time to be following Millwall.
But also negativity, of course, you can go above and beyond. But when it was shit, we all thought it was shit. So I'll stick up a bit for everyone in general there. But I do agree it can go above and beyond. But I'm just kind of saying save the moment, because I remember, I think the 2018 season where we had that crazy run under Harris and we nearly snuck in there. We went on a stage of I think it was 5 away wins on the bounce, and the best 5 away days was to kind of consistently have that happen. Leeds away, we won 4-3. Went to Reading, we won 2-0 or 2-1. Went to Birmingham, we won 1-0. We went to Burton, and I think we won 1-0 or 2-0. And then we had the whole away on the Tuesday night, and that sequence of away games, just you don't get them come often, but the feeling when you go into games and you're actually confident to turn up, and that's what I feel about Saturday. That kind of momentum is building and it's gathering pace, and this is going to age really well on Saturday when we lose 3-0. I know that, but at least I saw the 4 games where we won 4 in a row, right?
The best thing there is everyone listening to this as a podcast rather than watching it as in the video format is going to think that your memory is fucking superb. But if you watch on YouTube, you can see that he keeps looking down and he's obviously reading. So
to be fair to me, I'm gonna give myself up a little bit. This is my Instagram memories, because I knew I'd done an Instagram post for it, because I done 1, 2, and there's only the stadiums there, but I didn't have the results there. You see, it's just the stadiums.
Yeah.
So that's St Andrews. That one's Burton. See,
yeah.
There you go. This is the content you're getting on the audio, by the way.
For those of you who are on watching this on either Recast or YouTube, do you want to just tag Omar? You can get him on that Millwall pod. Just tag Omar and tell him what just happened there, because we didn't realise that he's on blur and we can't see what the fuck is on his phone.
In. My point there was not necessarily to show I knew the scores, more so I remember the scores. I just wanted to rejig my memory of what games there were, because they're good times. I have to rejig my memory there, mate. That's all. But it's all in here still.
I'm not questioning it. That's perfectly. I can't remember diddly shit, mate. So yeah, don't worry about that. One of the benefits of getting older.
Yeah, that's it. I feel like the age is catching up with me now, because my memory used to be bang, 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 and I'd be almost like Stato-esque in a way. Now it's it's there, just need a bit of a jogging in the back of the nugget, and I'm halfway there. So, but I think we've talked to death anyway. Obviously, our recent form, talked to death about the excitement of it. I think we should wrap up part 1 here, mate, and go into part 2. What do you reckon?
Definitely, let's do that.
Let's do it now. Back shortly. All right, welcome to the second and final part of the show. Mickey, mate, I thought, seeing as you tried to bring up in the first part and got a bit excited with it, tell me why you think Aldo is going to be a good return to the den if it's imminently true. Obviously, Harvey Buds will depart today.
Oh, look.
Should be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, Aldo is Aldo. I mean, those of you who know Aldo used to be the reporter for Southwark News, and then he started News at Den. And then when he got within the club, us wee peasants become fucking nobodies. And I never used to see eye to eye with him that much, to be fair, in the beginning, whatever reason. But John likes him. I think people in the club like him. and it obviously didn't work out at Stoke. And the same as all of us, he's probably got a mortgage to pay and everything else. And he probably made a phone call to the club and said, any chance? And it looks as if they went fucking 100% come back and get rid of him.
It is interesting. I mean, obviously, you mentioned about the press article today where it says it's a club decision. So obviously, it doesn't mean it's necessarily his decision, Rowett, but everyone sings off the same hymn sheet in that scenario. And it might be, I mean, I can't pretend to know which signings that Aldridge got over the line. Obviously, when he was involved, we signed the likes of Cooper, Jeds. You know, these players are muted. They've obviously been at the club. Hutchinson, when he was here, how much involvement he has with that, who knows? Because they all spoke highly of Neil Harris when they signed. So, like, you know, they ultimately signed for the manager, but maybe these were names that he put forward.
Well,
We don't know. We don't know that. But what we
what?
do know for a fact is we've typically been a club, like I said in previous podcasts, Mickey, that put a lot of faith in the manager, and the manager picks the targets. Well, not necessarily picks targets, but he'll cherry pick his favourites, and that's why we end up with a lot of players that Rowett's worked with before, for example.
Yeah, possibly.
It's undoubtedly true.
With Rowett. But what happened before was there used to be a pre-season meeting. I never took part in them purely because I like the not
I'm sure these
knowing.
meetings still happen now, by the way, mate.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. I'm just saying. But what they used to do with Alden, there used to be a meeting where the positions, what Neil, for instance, would say, or the manager would say, these are the positions what we need to strengthen in. There used to be Aldo, as far as I'm led to believe, used to have his computer program what would pick best suited players with running and passing and everything else within that category. And then obviously they'd highlight a lot of the players they'd want at the beginning of the season, and then they'd start watching them. And then by the end of the season, or when the transfer windows come up, they'll be the players what they're going after, rather than potentially just looking. And the fact now that we seem to be scouting in Europe and further afield than just the UK, I think potentially that could come into Aldo's strengths. Because of the program, because of the analytical side of, he's very, very. I mean,
but every
I think he practiced on
that has a bit of salt about him.
No, I do, but I think he's shit at a football manager. I think he knows his stuff there, and I just think it could benefit us. And also, the only bit what's a bit questionable is where there's a lot of speculation. Is Rowett going to go in the summer because I think his contract's up? Who would be the manager that comes in, and just hopefully they can work with Aldo, or as you suggested plenty of times before, is Aldo pretty much going to be the new director of football and basically plan how we're going to be playing going forward? You've called for it.
Well, I think it's something we should be doing because we need longevity past the manager. Like, what happens in the past is like the manager goes, then a new manager comes in, and he needs 2-3 windows to get his own players in. And even then, we're into the 4th or 5th window of Rowett, and he still thinks he needs more recruitment and more changes to be made to the team. So this is what I'm saying. Like, what do you want to do long term? There's no kind of long term vision. Now, I think, if Aldo's coming back in, we don't even know if he's coming yet, but at this point, if Harvey Bustle's gone, I'm well expecting him to be announced this week, perhaps, or who knows what. But I think it's clear that obviously needs to be a new vision, especially with this big summer recruitment coming up that the club says coming. So it's exciting. And like I said, there's no point making comment on his time at the Den before because no one really knows how much involvement these people have with the transfers. It's not really well spoken or documented about. So like I can't.
He was quite heavily involved.
But I can't pass judgment for or against it. I think the only thing I'll give him he's due for is when he was here before, we had the 23s players signed a lot. So Harry Smith arrived, Tyler Bury arrived, Marlon Romeo arrived. These players that were signed from clubs that were released, Arsenal, I think Romeo was at before, Gillingham, obviously Tyler Bury was at Wimbledon. And these players were plucked up from, on their downward slope, so to speak, and brought back into the 23s at Millwall, given a chance to play and impress. And then Harris gave him a chance in League One at the time, and it works out well. And that, for a fact, I remember has been said in the press about these are the players that are flagged up in the research that they've done as a recruitment department. I don't know how much involvement they have, like I said, for players that already played in league football or like the Hutchinsons, the Wallaces. But ultimately, obviously, they came to the club and they were flagged up. So it's a team effort. I'm not doubting that. But like I said, it'd be interesting to see if anything changes and the angle we go for, because the recruitment under Raya at the moment has been purely based on, has he worked with them before, or do they have some pedigree in the Championship? And I personally think, and I know this is a fine-edged sword, and a lot of people disagree with what I say about it, especially in January when I said it. We don't go for players that are playing week in, week out at their clubs, because everyone goes, well, what do you expect? We can't spend money for them. Why don't we look at League One, League Two, players that play week in, week out in these divisions, and offer them the chance to play in the Championship? And I know these are not cheap assets nowadays either, and they're still going to cost you perhaps $500,000 for a League Two striker. But I think we should have a mix and match of our team, not necessarily just players that have played the Championship and they're on loan to us, or they're in the Premier League and now they're on loan to us. Let's go to the Conference. Let's go to League Two. Let's go to League One. Players that play week in, week out, full of confidence, full of energy, full of beans, tick the profile, and give them a chance to impress. We don't do that enough. It works out with Gregory in the end. It works out with Morrison. Why don't we not doing this further down the league spectrum? And they still exist out there because teams do it all the time. Run over.
I totally agree. I think you've got a point there, but don't get me wrong. I don't think Aldo is the be and end all and is the best recruiter in the world. What I think is that you're having someone who knows the club inside out, who knows the people within the club inside out. Steve Kavanagh, Billy, etc., knows the people running the training ground, knows the people wrapped up around the players, etc. And I just think that there is going to be no learning curve. Yeah. As far as I'm led to believe he is, yeah. But I just think that he can hit the ground running. He's, Harvey coming in, needed to find out about Millwall, how we done things, how things worked. Possibly didn't necessarily get on well, didn't get the decisions what he wanted. We could be speculating, read between the article. Normally when an article says we wish them all the best, blah, 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 with nothing else, normally means something hasn't necessarily worked out. Shit, I'll have to check the statement they wrote about me when I left fan on the board, actually. But yeah.
Did they even do a statement for you, mate? I don't know what you're on about.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah. Google it. It's yeah.
You was fan on the board,
Thank you. Yeah. Do you know what? Funny you say that. Today, my Twitter feed, what I started, my personal one now, what I started up when I become fan of the board, or just before I become officially fan of the board, was 5 years ago today.
Nice. Feel old?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we'll have to do a show about that, I think, one day, just thinking, because it was, everything about it was mad. And would I, on hindsight, ever do it again? Probably not.
Interesting.
Possibly not, but I think that's for another show rather than now, because I don't really like talking about it.
Interesting. No, it's mad to think that's 5 years ago, mate. And obviously to wrap up on Aldo returning, I am excited to see what can change potentially. And like you said there, I've been banging the drum for all this time. He might be the ever present that we need consistency with. And you said John likes him allegedly, and that's exciting. It means he's obviously trusted as well. We'll just have to wait and see, I suppose.
I just hope they do a video for him.
For Aldo, or for returning?
Yeah. You gotta, we gotta go through his history with Millwall, like the News of Den starting and the South London, Southwark News and all of this, and just do the old bits like what they did with the return for Cahill. We need a big atmospheric video.
Announce him with his old avatar, because he used to have the old cartoon avatar with blonde hair.
Yeah.
There you go. And then welcome back according to Aldo. That's what you need to do. That is exactly what it needs to be, because that was what the iconic memories were when he used to be South on the Press, and then obviously News at Den. So yeah, welcome back to Aldo. We're assuming you're coming back, and at this point you must be, because Harvey Bustle's gone. So
let's be the first.
Yeah, breaking news.
Let's be the first with positivity for Aldo coming back, because I know there's another channel doing something today. What's probably no doubt fucking moaning about him, but yeah, hey ho, it is what it is.
I don't even know who that channel is you're talking about. So there you go. Anyway, is there anything else you want to say, mate, before we wrap up our show tonight?
Yeah, we got a we've got one seat left for the upcoming round table, possibly two. So if you want to get involved in that, and you've not already DM'd us. We've had a few fans DM'd us, so there's going to be quite a few different voices for that, which would be good. That's coming up around the international break. We put on recast before YouTube now, so you get an exclusivity. As soon as this is done later, it'll go up on recast. Apologise for last week's show, technical issue. If you can hear my voice back, here's an echo there. Other than that, no, I think subscribe, follow, and enjoy the show. And thank you very much for all your comments. So
there you go. Couldn't say it better myself, mate.
Don't forget, you're allowed 10 adverts per day on Recast, so that can give you 100 credits a day. So if you do keep doing that every day, just while you're sitting at the bus stop, sitting at the loo, sitting in traffic, whatever, that gets you 100 credits a day. And ours are only costing you 10 credits. So one advert, you can watch us.
Nice. Any more for any more?
No, because I'm echoing too much and I'm getting my voice back because you're fucking listening to it on speaker rather than on earphones.
Right. Okay. Thanks for that. I can't hear it back, but I wouldn't be able to hear it back, I suppose, anyway. So it doesn't matter there. But yeah, if you're new around here, guys, be sure to like and subscribe. I'll invest in my headphones again for the next show. And check out our social at That Mill Pods. And yeah, thanks for listening to the show that can't be named. And we'll be back on Thursday for a show.
Yeah, Kai will be back as well then, I think.
Yeah. Who's Kai?